Hello everybody, VW Bubs here, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to completely rewire and rebuild a Safetran mechanical bell from the ground up. So here we go. So let's say you've purchased one of these cool old crossing bells. I see many people online who are saying, oh, I have one, but they don't know how to rewire it or do anything with it. Now mine was fine, but just recently a bunch of oil and tar started accumulating, so I feel I need to address this problem. But first, let's get into some things you'll need. Once you've got all that, we can begin. So I'm sure it's fairly obvious, but the first thing you're going to want to do is take your size 13 bit, come around to the back, and you're going to want to twist this off. It sometimes is stuck and will break, but you should be able to get it off pretty easily. Just be careful, because this does come down pretty quickly. And voila, your bell is now open. So as you can see, mine is really starting to get pretty dirty. Despite only having cleaned this 2 years ago, a bunch of tar is starting to build up. This was shiny. I shined it up a little bit ago. And it's just getting pretty dirty overall. Now I could just keep oiling it and maintaining it, but I want to stop the problem at its source. So now we're going to use this tape, and it's for something you probably won't expect. Now I know what you're thinking. You might not have a wire. Your bell's wires might be eaten or corroded, so I'll put up the timestamp on screen, and this is where you're going to want to go to see how to rewire it. So if you want to remember the order of the wires, I don't know, just like mark them. Yeah, just put like a symbol on there so you won't forget. These should only be finger tight, but sometimes they might be a little stuck. They were when I got it, but not anymore, so just get them off there, or you can just do this. Way faster. Okay, once you've got it all labeled, I know these are pretty poor. Well, it's hard to do with one hand, but then you can just put these away. Well, not one hand, sorry, but like, you know, I have to like hold it funny. Okay, well, either way, once you've got them all marked, you can continue with the disassembly. So once you've removed all the wires here, you can take your flathead and you can start to loosen these two screws. There's just two, and they're the only thing that hold this little terminal block on. Yeah, I know you can't really see it all that well, but it's hard to do for the camera. Here's a better look at the terminal block. We can just unscrew this now with our fingers. And be sure to mark this thing. It went on like this. Come on, there. It went on like this. So it's got to be put on the exact same way. So that's the mark. And with that out of the way, terminal block disassembly is now complete. You can now tilt the bell forward, and you should be able to remove anything wired up to it. Then you'll take a 7/16 bit, and that goes for the bolts that hold on the rain shield. Be careful when removing it, you don't want to do any damage. So hold this part and remove the bolt on the top last. This will make it easy to take this off, as I'll demonstrate. And boom. Now, you're going to want to take the biggest size, that being a 19mm wrench, and that goes for the bolt on the gong, and it takes a bit of pressure, but it should just come off. Now once again, you're going to be careful. The first time I did this, I made the gong fall over. That can be seen in the original restoration video of this, so make sure you've got a firm grip on it, and be prepared, because it is a little heavy. There. And now it's off. Now's a good time to check for any damage. As you may notice, I don't think this was here when I originally took this apart. That's probably from the gong getting sprung accidentally. And also be sure to rotate it. These aren't for me. I never used it that long. I think that one's for me. But, yeah, some of these are pretty bad. Now we can see the older, aging cotter pins. So you're going to want to pick up some of these new cotter pins. You will need to trim them. To remove the older cotter pins, all you need to do, looks like someone's tried getting this off before me, just grab it and twist it. Now just repeat that process until it all comes off. Then, once it's straight, you can take it and pull it out. It might take a bit of trying, but you should be able to get it out. It's a pretty tight fit. Gee, Safetran. Yeah, there was no saving this thing. Okay, so that's the first cotter pin removed. Okay, once you've done that, you can come into here. These are brass, so they're a lot more fragile. Actually, I can basically push that with my hand. Hang on. Okay, so for the next part, which will be disassembling this area, you don't need a lot. You basically just need to remove the wires and you can deal with it later. So you'll need a 3/8 bolt, and you basically can just put that on. Get these off. Oh, that's a little tight. And then I'll show you what to do next. So one interesting thing to note is that these two wires are actually the same. I didn't know that. Okay, for these two, you'll need an 8mm wrench, and these, they're not that stuck on there. They just come slide off, yeah. Okay, and once you get this one off, you'll be able to remove the wire, which I have labeled B and Z. So once the BZ wire is removed, then you can continue with the disassembly. Nice. Correction, they are actually separate. They're just like stuck together from age, so be careful about that. Then this comes off, which is like the last piece of the puzzle. Yep. Oh wow, that still is very golden. Cool. Then this comes off. Now don't do any work on this. As you can probably see, this is actually a resistor. I forgot the name of it, but it is basically a thin little piece of metal with a special resistance. And I wouldn't take this apart because this is spacing, which creates a resistance. So don't mess with this. Then you can basically break these screws off. I say break because they're very tight. There we go. And you can hear that pop. And boom, now the mechanism's free and you've gotten this out. So now you're gonna wanna take a 7/16 bolt. Now this part, you may notice it's got a very interesting end tip. It's a bolt with a little mark on top, and this is the speed adjuster. Basically, the further away it is from the ringer, the less strokes, and the closer it is, the faster it rings. So that's what you use to adjust it. And now the block's all apart, so let's continue with the repair. Okay, now, well, that sounds really weird. Now, you should be able to loosen these two bolts, and that will take this little, it's actually a circuit. It's a circuit board, a flexible one, with a little, like, copper fitting. So that last cotter pin is pretty difficult to remove, the one up here in the corner, but I've got an idea. I think maybe if I loosen that, I can push this out, yep. And then I can get this off. Oh, something just fell. Ew. Oh my gosh, this is so nasty. Like, really, this is absolutely disgusting. Ew! Oh, ew. Oh, that is gross. Okay, whatever. Oh, that still's not gonna come through. Yeah. Okay, gotta think of something else. Okay, then that comes off. This, ew, that is so gross, comes off. And now we should be able to just, yep, this comes off. And this is the hammer assembly. Oh my gosh, that's so gross. Holy crap, I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but there is a living beetle inside the Safetran bell. It's been there for like 2 years. How are you still alive? Okay, so once you've done that, you can take the bell, and we're basically done. The bell is just bits and pieces now. So we'll take it over to the front, and now we've only got these two. So just remove those. Oh my gosh, this is like a tight bolt. Hang on, you guys. And now the very last thing you have to do is remove these screws. What the heck? So then the last step is to loosen the bolts you've got here, and the whole thing should just come apart. So this is what a Safetran mechanical bell looks like, minus the housing, completely disassembled. All the little nuts and screws laid out. It's all apart. Now this is a very crazy project. I wouldn't have been able to have done this when I first started the restoration in 2022, but I think it needs to be done, and I think it's something that will be good to do. Now, if you're eating, I'm going to give you 5 seconds to look away, because I'm going to show you what my hands look like after all this work. Oh my gosh, they're so dirty. Okay, well, either way, yeah, that's how to take apart a Safetran bell. So, just follow that video in reverse, and now I'll show you how you wire it back up once it's assembled. The component here is a Motorola 75-1 W961. W9610. So for rewiring it, the other wire that comes from the coil, not the one marked that comes down here, it should have a little blue tip on it. It goes into this, which goes into this, goes out here. So that's basically the majority of the wires done. So you're gonna want to crimp 2 wires. This is called a crimp. And your positive, which is your red wire, that's going to go onto the right side. Sometimes it's marked. Mine is. And your negative lead, it's going to go over wire Z, which is the one that's under this one. So all the way here. And you're going to want to put it over that. Like that. It should look like this when it's done. And don't forget to put the washers in between. So now you take wire Y, and you're going to want to put that on first. Then we take X and put it on next with the washer in between. And then we put a washer before that. So once you've got everything wired up, it should look like this. As you can see, this is moving good. And then this contact piece right here is basically creating a current, which sucks this into the magnet, and then it breaks. See, it's making a connection, and gravity should swing it down. And there's this piece here. That's what it should look like. And there's that. And obviously here it is from the front. So yeah, that's how it should go. Okay, so once all the repairs are done, plug in your bell and see if it works. And if you follow all the steps, it should sound fine.